Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. So, more solar X flares have been happening. What's going on? So, I'm going to break it down for you a little bit. And first of all, let's start with some physics. This will be interesting. A lot of people describe the Earth as orbiting around the sun. I won't get into the whole theories about everything, but if you take it at face value and you look at the sun as what do we have according to Einstein is we have the E equals mc squared, and he came up with the theory of relativity. So what in a nutshell, the universe really, what he was talking about is that time and space are interrelated. So if we have we're quote unquote orbiting the sun, but we're in the same time space as the sun, right? So we're in the same area of the sun, and that's what it's giving us, is not just what people refer to as gravity. What we have is time space. So time space is the ability to have a kind of synchronistic effect between two objects that find themselves in the same locale, and that gives off time space. You with me so far? So we have time space. So if the frequency of the sun changes, then we have a different frequency of time. So that's only logical. Now, when I talked about, I think it was over a year ago, about, and I'm the only person ever, tout myself again, slap on the back, yada yada, to say that there was a solar flare. I said there was a giant solar flare that was going to occur within 24 hours, and I put it down to almost a minute, and then it happened, right? And what did I say? I said that it's something to do with quote unquote aliens. They're doing something, which is very interesting. Now we had a new, solar flare, and this will really blow your mind. So we had a new solar flare. I've been watching some latest videos. There was a NASA probe that looks at the sun, and they had an Ezekiel wheel. It looked like an Ezekiel wheel. You could do an internet search. A lot of the internet's been scrubbed from it, but you might be able to find it. So a giant wheel that looks like Ezekiel's wheel that entered into the solar system, that was kind of hidden from a lot of people, but that is giant. I mean, it is more than 10 times the size of the Earth. It was huge. So that entered into the solar system. Recently, we had a giant oval, a giant circle they said was 10 times about the same size of the Earth, that approached the sun and seemed to siphon off solar matter from the sun. And there's a video about it, someone made with one of those telescopes that can look at the sun, and then it took off, right? So what I've been thinking about, it just kind of came to me, is that the sun can be programmed. So from an advanced technological civilization could actually send some kind of giant spacecraft to not just suck out solar matter, and it could be just doing that to fuel itself, but what would happen is, and what they could do is push into like the sun like it was a machine, a wave, and that wave would propagate out and cause a solar flare. Now, that would be really crazy, right? So what does a solar flare do? It could cause, if it was in its, what they're calling is X-solar flare, happens at the speed of light, okay? So it happens not just on one frequency, but it happens in the frequency of time as well, if you're with me so far. So it causes a time wave. So what happened was, we had all the, and I talked about this before, the planes that were grounded, and then the solar flare occurred, okay? So we have forces that are compensating, let's say. So I don't know if it was an active assault or a passive assault. Like I'm saying, that I'm being open-minded about it. When these quote-unquote different race beings, aliens, whatever you want to have them, angelic type of beings, when they came with a giant 10 times the size of the earth, came and siphoned up something, they programmed, as I understand it, they programmed the sun to give off a solar flare, whether wittingly or unwittingly. What happened is that the solar flare occurred, a time wave. So now the time wave happened, and now there were 3 solar flares. So there wasn't just one, but there was 3. But what I'm saying is, from a higher dimensional perspective, you see 3 solar flares happen. What actually could occur is 1, but on different vibrational frequencies. But on one, you're seeing it was 1 solar flare, but we had it on 3 different multiverses, and some people could see through different multiverses because they are multidimensional. So that's what I've been talking about on this channel. So we had 3 solar flares, but they were just 1. So what happened? In India, all the planes were grounded. In Canada, all the planes were grounded. How did that happen? Somehow, mysteriously, they all, and the US, they all received some kind of computer glitch at the same time, and that caused them to have to ground the planes just in time for the solar flare to happen, and so people didn't get hurt, right? So what I'm saying is, that is the as I understand it, those are the good forces. The good forces went and caused this computer glitches, and the solar flare happened, one of them, all at the same time, and all the planes were grounded at the same time. But if you look at it now, the timelines will show that it all happened at different times. But what I'm saying is, it was one event, and now what occurred is that all those different instances are actually the same instance. So from a scientific perspective, it'd be very interesting to go and measure the different solar flares, how they occurred at different times, and what happened with different airports being shut down at different times, and knowing that it was all one time for the airports and one time for the solar flare, and seeing all that. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. I hope you're having a great day. Bye.